Tonight, 4 dead, including a policewoman and her son, in a Bathurst plane crash. Radical cleric Abu Bakr Bashir rallies supporters of the Bali bombers before they're executed. A mother farewells her daughter who died while escaping a sex attacker. And US President-elect Barack Obama takes control while Sarah Palin takes aim at critics.
I know that I know that I know.
This is 7 News with Chris Bath.
Good evening. A policewoman and her son are among 4 people killed in a light plane crash in the state's central west. The pilot and his girlfriend also died. They'd just taken off after refuelling at Bathurst Airport when the aircraft slammed into the ground.
With a full tank of fuel, the twin-engine plane exploded into flames when it crashed. Rescue crews raced to help, but there was nothing they could do. This morning, investigators began sifting through the wreckage. Debris spread across hundreds of metres on a farm not far from Bathurst Airport.
I visited the scene a short time ago and it could only be described as carnage.
Gwen Syker lives next door to the crash site. She says the plane came down with such force, her house moved.
It was just like something very large hit the house and it just shook, and I got the shock of my life.
Victorian police officer and single mum Erin Condon was on the plane with her son Matty.
He was 9 years old and beautiful little boy, loved his football and his friends at school, and you know, they were together, very closely together, and lived together. And
the leading senior constable served for 13 years and was stationed at Ashburton in Melbourne's east. Tim O'Brien was flying the plane. The father of 3 was an experienced pilot who'd flown thousands of hours, even transporting sick children for Angel flights.
That's what he would do without blinking. It's what he did. He gave his time and he gave his money.
His new girlfriend was also on board.
Jacqueline was a beautiful, deeply spiritual person, and they were made for each other.
The group left Victoria last night and was heading to Port Macquarie for a triathlon. There was no mayday call from the pilot, but he may have known something was wrong. Police say it appears he'd turned around and was heading back to the airport. Investigators say it could be weeks before they know why the plane went down.
You can learn a lot, but it is difficult. It does take time, and that'll certainly be the case in this accident.
Angela Cox, 7 News.
The mother of a Chinese girl who died while escaping a sex attacker has told her funeral her daughter's death has taken away all hope for the family. Hundreds of mourners gathered to honour the 18-year-old at a service in Sydney.
The foreign student who suffered such a violent death was today given a peaceful farewell. The 18-year-old, who we can't name for legal reasons, fell from a balcony late last month during a sex attack in Waterloo. Her boyfriend also fell but is still in hospital, too sick to attend the funeral. Hundreds gathered at Olympic Park after the girl's mother invited the city to share her grief. While she put on a brave face, Buddhist monks prayed over the coffin. Speakers remembered their angelic friend.
As a warm and gentle person who enriched the lives of so many.
Especially her mums.
Life has been cruelly cut short by an atrocious crime, and our happy family were all of a sudden being thrown into a deep abyss.
Mourners were invited to bring flowers and offer support. The girl's parents return to China this week with their daughter's ashes, but they leave with the hope some good will come of her death and other foreign students will be spared the same fate.
And her death, in such an unfortunate way, has also rung the alarm for the overseas student community.
A community united in grief. Sean Berry, 7 News.
Radical Islamic cleric Abu Bakr Bashir has arrived in the home village of the Bali bombers ahead of their executions. Correspondent Adrian Brown is in the East Java village of Toogoolung. Adrian, is his visit likely to stir up unrest?
Chris, I think it's fair to say that the presence of Abu Bakr Bashir certainly won't ease tensions here in the village of Toogoolung, where Mukhlis and Amrozi are due to be laid to rest in the cemetery behind me. Now, Bashir, who served 2.5 years in jail over his role in the Bali bombings, has been addressing supporters in a local mosque today. He told them that Amrozi, Mukhlis and Samudra were now destined for martyrdom and that what they had done had set an example for others to follow. To give you some idea of how locals feel about the bombers in this part of the world, souvenir T-shirts of the three terrorists have now gone on sale. And I think it's fair to say that the authorities fear that the funerals will present their extremist followers with something of a propaganda coup. Also today, Chris, police have been outlining the ground rules for the funerals. They say unless the families agree to these conditions, the bodies will remain on the prison island. What they want to ensure is that the funeral and the prayers are restricted to just that. Quick prayers, quick funeral, bodies in the ground, to minimise any chances of violence. And the potential is certainly there for that, Chris.
All right, thanks, Adrian. Adrian Brown in East Java there. A mother is being questioned over the deaths of her two young children in Perth. The 10-month-old baby and 2-year-old boy were found dead in a house at Ellenbrook, 20 kilometres north of Perth. It's understood their father was away working in the mines.
Police are shocked by what they've found there, but further inquiries will hopefully unravel the circumstances that led to this particular situation.
Post-mortems will determine the cause of death. New figures show the number of homes being built has fallen to an all-time low, but it's hoped an extra $3,000 carrot from the state government will encourage more Sydney families to build their dream properties.
Karen and Scott are sick of constant rent hikes. They've decided to build their first home.
I wanted to rent a massive main bedroom.
The Hinchinbrook couple says the new $3,000 subsidy will make it all possible.
Every little bit that we can get to build a home is going to help us.
From Tuesday, Sydney families building a home will get $24,000 in federal and state grants. The state's contribution is available for properties under $750,000.
So good news for families, good news for the construction sector.
It's designed to stimulate the crippled industry. New home approvals in Sydney have fallen 26% in 1 month to the lowest level in history. New apartments have slumped 48%.
I had to check the numbers 4 or 5 times. It was, unbelievable that the figures could be this bad.
Mr Gadiel says the grant increase will help, but recent hikes to land tax will scare investors into state, pushing up property prices here.
At a time when we're risking a serious recession, we shouldn't be increasing the tax on the very industry that we need to save us.
The Real Estate Institute and economists have criticised the new grant. They say what the industry really needs is an overhaul of stamp duty and land tax.
Mr Rees is out of touch with the pressures on homeowners and out of his depth in fixing the state's economy.
Sarah Cummings, 7 News.
US President-elect Barack Obama is promising to act swiftly on the financial crisis when he takes over at the White House in January. He met with his new advisers today as America received more bad news about its economy.
He's sounding like a saviour, but he'll need the Almighty on his side to succeed.
I'm confident that a new president can have an enormous impact. That's why I ran.
The president-elect held a mini economic